Hi there, gorgeous, and a very happy drugstore December to you. If you've not heard, every video coming out for the entire month has an affordable theme, like today's video, and I'm also publishing 5 videos a week. So if you'd like to be notified of new content like this all month long, please subscribe, and thank you if you do. In today's video, I am sharing my top 10 eyeshadow palettes under $10 from 2020. This is a video I do annually, and it's become a favorite of mine because I discover so many really awesome palettes throughout the year, and I always love to go back and just round them up and give them to you all at once. So today I'm going to show you swatches of each one. I'm going to try to include mini tutorials for each palette that I'm sharing with you also, so you can see how they perform and looks that you can create with them. But also know that there are videos that I did on these palettes this past year that are available on the channel. So if I don't show you the full tutorial within this video, I'll have them linked for you below so you can go watch those videos if you need some inspiration on how to wear these palettes. First palette I have to share with you is one from e.l.f. They came out with these bite-sized eyeshadow palettes. I want to say they were more towards the end of last year, if not the very beginning of 2020. But my favorite that I've already talked about in a video previous to this one was Truffles. I love that palette to pieces. This next one is also a favorite of mine, and that's the one in Cream and Sugar. I love the color range here specifically, but I had no trouble with pigmentation, application, etc. with this particular palette. And I say that because some of the bite-sized eyeshadow palettes that I tried were a hit and a miss. Some of the shades were really, really good, while others were just not so much. And off the top of my head, the blue Acai, I think that's what it was called, palette. It was the one that looked purple, but it was actually blue. That was one of the ones that really disappointed me this past year, unfortunately. But there were more good than bad from that collection, and the Cream and Sugar was another one of my absolute favorites. From Hard Candy, this is a beautiful, cool-toned eyeshadow palette. If you're looking for something that is on the cooler spectrum, you will love this one. This is their Lap of Luxury palette. What threw me off about this when I first started using it is that all the shades in here are shimmers. All of them. I think you get one matte total. No, not even. They're all shimmers. I had forgotten that. But despite that, the look that I created with this palette and the looks that I've continued to create with this palette are amazing. They are so beautiful. I don't mind that all the eyeshadows are shimmer because the shimmer is not such that it's a difficult formula to work with, and it doesn't, I feel like, draw out imperfections in the eyelids. It's a very subtle shimmer formula, and I just love this palette much more than I thought that I would. Another favorite of mine from this past year comes from Profusion Cosmetics, and that is their Bare palette. I featured this one in a video earlier this month and showed a full tutorial with it, so if you missed that, I'll have it linked for you below. Great level of pigment with all the eyeshadows within this palette. You can create a multitude of different looks. It is a very warm-toned palette, and it is a lighter palette also. I want to say that specifically for those who have deeper complexions. This would not be one for you to try because the shades are not deep enough, dark enough to show up on those who have a deeper complexion. And even if you're a little lighter than a deeper complexion, like below medium but above deep, this would also not be one to try because again, you'd have some trouble with pigmentation there. So just making you aware of that. But Profusion Cosmetics, I feel like, offers one of the best ranges of eyeshadow palettes out there at such an affordable price point that there's something for everyone to try. And I've not really come across a Profusion eyeshadow palette that I really hated. Seriously, I think now I can't even think of one, but this one was really good. So if you're looking for something new to try in the neutral range and you don't mind warm shades, this is another great one. Amazon. Okay, so there are a lot of eyeshadow palettes available on Amazon. If you just someday take the time to go through Amazon and just search for eyeshadow palettes, you'd be amazed at how many of them come up. And there were a couple that really caught my eye this past year, so I picked them up to try them out, and wow. They weren't all great. Like, there were some that were just, yeah, no, but these were fabulous. So the first one I have to share with you is from a brand called Aflano. This is their Avocado Green palette, completely green palette. I know a lot of people have mentioned to me in the past that they would love to see more green palettes. So when I saw this, I thought of you. You were given 15 eyeshadows within this palette in a variety of different finishes. They have mattes in here, shimmers, and then they also have these glitter-packed eyeshadows, which surprisingly apply to the eyes really well, but they're a bit hard to wash off. So you trade the convenience of it staying on the eyes for not being able to get it off, but it's okay. They also have one eyeshadow in this palette that is a beautiful teal, and I added that into the look that you're seeing here with the palette, and I love how the teal goes with the green. These are two colors I would have not paired up, honestly, had I not used this palette, but I love how they look together. So overall, it was a really high quality palette for the price, and I highly recommend checking it out. Another one from Amazon that I stumbled across this past year, and the second I saw it, I said, I have to try that, is one from a brand called Changeable on Amazon, and this is their Bubble Nebula palette. Look at that! I was instantly attracted to all of the colors in here. You get 18 eyeshadows in here and so many different colors to choose from. Teals, purples, cranberries, neutrals, and the matte formula is exceptional within this palette. It's one of the best matte formulas I've ever used when it comes to eyeshadow, and I was really surprised by it when I started using it. The only caveat with this palette is that the shades in here that have that shimmer texture to them can be a little bit chunky to get out of the palette to apply to your eyes. The best way that I found to apply them is by a little bit at a time. I did try to apply them wet. That wasn't really the best way to go with them. To me, it was just taking a little bit at a time, building it up, putting it on the lid, and working with it from there. So if you don't mind working with the shimmers in this palette, it is a really excellent one, and the color range is just gorgeous in here. But even if you didn't want to use the shimmers at all and you just wanted to use the matte shades, still excellent. You would just swoon over this matte formula. It is really, really good. A palette that I discovered very recently that has become a love of mine, and I did a video on this, I want to say either in October or November, I can't remember exactly when, is from LA Colors, and this is their Luxe palette. This is one I found in CVS for $4. $4! 24 eyeshadows. $4. I mean, that's insane. They are powdery, so be mindful of that when you're using them. A little bit goes a long way with these two because they are super, super pigmented. This, I feel like, is a great palette of neutrals to have to combine up with any other colorful palettes that you may have. And there's so many options in here to choose from. On top of all the neutrals that they give you in this palette, they also included a green and a couple silver eyeshadows that are simply beautiful. Try silver and gray if you have blue eyes. It's one of my most favorite colors to wear. I don't wear it enough, but next video. And that is the combo I'm wearing in today's video. By the way, if you've been curious, I am wearing the Luxe palette today. It's gorgeous. Another cooler toned palette that I wanted to share with you comes from Flower Beauty, and this is their Concrete Jungle palette. Before I show this to you up close, I will just tell you I have had the worst luck with this palette ever. I just cannot seem to get one that's fully intact, okay? I got this one originally from Amazon. It arrived with the last shade here completely shattered, and I would have tried to have saved it, but it was everywhere. It was all over the palette, and it just was not salvageable, unfortunately. So I ordered another one from Amazon. It got lost in the mail. So I'm like, this is just not meant to be. And unfortunately, this is not one that you can buy in stores. This is one you have to buy online. So just keep that in mind. But the palette itself is beautiful. A great range of cooler toned neutrals in here. The formula with these is very soft, which that's exactly why one eyeshadow broke the way that it did. And by the way, even though that eyeshadow was broken in transit, I was able to salvage a little bit from the pan to be able to use it in the look that I'm getting ready to show you, and also in the swatches there. So when you saw the swatches, those were every single shade in the palette. And of course, the one that breaks is the one that I love the most. Now, these eyeshadows are not the most pigmented I've ever used. Like, they're not like the Profusion Cosmetics eyeshadows. They're not like the Wet n Wild ones where you get this extreme level of pigmentation. They're rather soft, and you can probably see that in the application that I'm showing you here. The formula was very reminiscent to me of the L'Oreal La Palette Nudes. Do you remember those palettes? That's the exact same kind of formula that these remind me of. But I know some people like a softer look and they don't want eyeshadows that are really strong on the eyes. So if that describes you and you're looking for a cooler toned range, I think you'd really, really love this one. I just hope that you're able to get it fully intact and unlike me. Another palette that I discovered very recently that just really impressed me more than I thought that it would is another one from LA Colors, and this is their Nude palette. They came out with this one as part of their holiday gifting sets. It's in Walgreens stores for $2. You are given 12 shades in this palette in a variety of different textures, mattes and shimmers. So easy to apply, effortless. The eyeshadows are of extremely great quality. They blend so nicely on the eyes. They don't muddy together. Everything remains intact from the moment you apply it to the end of the day. This is one of the best eyeshadow palettes I tried this year, and LA Colors is one of those brands where sometimes you get something really, really, really good like this, and then sometimes you get something really, really, really awful, but thankfully, that was not the case here. So if the shade range speaks to you and you're looking for something that's inexpensive or even a great stocking stuffer this year, excellent, amazing quality. Another eyeshadow palette that I tried earlier this year came from Believe Beauty, and that was their Lovestruck palette. This was one that had a lot of really beautiful neutrals, but it also had a pop of cranberry in the palette, and the pigmentation with this one was off the charts. For being $5, it was truly a beautiful palette. They offer a lot of other palettes too. I haven't been into a Dollar General in a while to be able to see the other palettes that they offer, but based off of my experience with using the Lovestruck palette, I would absolutely try the other ones that they have. I know they have a purple one, which that may have to be one I have to pick up in 2021, but yeah, definitely check them out if you're looking for a more affordable brand that is of sound quality. And the last eyeshadow palette I have to share with you of best that just, it's another green one. It's from Hard Candy, and this one is their Smoke Out palette. You get 15 shades within this palette. 4 are matte, the remainder are shimmers, and I love the variation of greens that you get with this one. There are a couple glitter-packed eyeshadows in this palette, but they are really easy to apply. They stay put, they don't move around, surprisingly of excellent quality. Hard Candy is another one like LA Colors, where sometimes it's a hit and a miss, you really don't know what you're going to get. But they did something differently with these palettes, because the other one called Blushful Nudes that I talked about last year, same kind of thing. It was extremely good, and I know that they have a purple one. I've not been able to get it. I haven't seen it in the store. I've seen it online, but it's sold out. I really, really, really want to try that purple one. I'm hoping that it's not a red-based purple palette, but that one, I just know the quality would be so good based on my experience with this one and the Blushful Nudes one that I have. But if you love green eyeshadows and you're looking for a new one, oh my gosh, you wouldn't regret this purchase at all. This is such a fabulous quality palette. I hope you found this video helpful today. If you want to reference this video in the future, I'll have all the palettes that I talked about listed out for you below in the description box. If they are available online, I'll try to have them linked for you below also. Let me know what your favorite palette was this past year. It doesn't have to be under $10. It can be any price range that you want for it to be. Would just love to hear what your favorite one was, what your go-to palette was. Thank you for being here, for taking the time to watch, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.